Hey everybody, I'm the Invincibility Coach, Amy Lay. Today's topic has to do with confidence, and I like to call it your values and why you are always right. That's right, always. So here's an idea that I would like you to get behind, and you may take to it rather quickly or it might take you a little bit. But I believe that you have always been right in your life. And I believe that what you're doing right now, whatever it is the right thing to do. I also believe that whatever you will do in the future to come will also be right. You are always right. And here's why I think that. As we move through life, no matter how old you are right now, at any given moment in your history and in the present, every second that goes by, the only reason that you do whatever you do or say whatever you say or don't do is because you feel as though it is the right thing to do. Some of the things that you've done, or perhaps are doing right now, might be kind of jacked up, right? Still, I maintain you would not have done them, nor would you be doing what you're doing right now if you were not satisfied with it and you just think it's the right thing to do. That's why you did it. It doesn't mean that the consequences or the outcomes of these decisions throughout time to act in the way that you did or refrain from acting or speak whatever you spoke or didn't speak. It doesn't mean that there were not outcomes and circumstances that were questionable or terrible. I don't know. But the point that I want to make with you, and the point that I want you to get familiar with feeling, is that you only did what you did because you thought it was right. Oh, why you wouldn't have done it otherwise? I mean, this is not so deep. I mean, you have to look at it for what it is. I did what I did because I thought it was right. I did an Instagram post with this similar thing, but again, I know that there's different audiences here, so there's a little bit of a repeat. But one of the examples that I like to use is relationships, okay? So, because, again, depending on what age you are, there's a pretty good chance that you have experimented with having some sort of a relationship at some point. And even if it's a friendship, right? Because, friendships don't last the test of time sometimes. So whatever this, I want you to just imagine a relationship, like an interaction between two people for a period of time. That is a relationship. Again, don't take it too deep. It was a relationship. So think about this. I want you to be willing to look in the mirror and be like, yes, I had that relationship. I thought it was right at the time. And you know what? Oh, what about the one I'm in right now? Like, yes, I'm in the relationship that I'm in right now because I think it's right. Now, in parentheses, does that mean that I still need to be in that relationship? Does it mean if you're thinking about a past relationship and you're looking in the mirror, you're saying, yes, I was in that relationship because I thought it was right. Now, if it was a past relationship, then of course you got to a certain point where you were no longer satisfied or no longer willing, or perhaps they were no longer willing, and then there was the dissolution of the relationship, okay? What I want you to get comfortable with is that it was right. It was right. And furthermore, everything that I do is right. Now, the person that if you're actually speaking this, I want you to say this to yourself, but you could, go to that level and have this conversation with somebody being like, hey, what do you think about the notion that I'm always right? Well, they are too. Everybody is. Everybody walking around on the planet right now, drawing breath, can say to themselves, I am right? How can, though, two people in the same room who are having a discussion and a disagreement about something, how can they both be right? Because you can hold two opposing thoughts at once and both of them be right. We live in a complicated world, okay? That's why this notion that you are right is so important, because we need a life preserver to cling to, right? While the world around us is like up and down and in and out and changing every day and so mercurial, right? Right. I'm right. I can be right all the time. Does that mean that there isn't room for improvement? No. Does it mean that I can make different decisions moving forward than I made in the past? No, you can totally do that. But you're going to be right. No matter what you do, I want you to give yourself a giant free pass that tells you you're right. You're right. You're right. You're right. Now, maybe you've been in an argument with somebody where they start saying that, but like in a cheeky way, where they'll be like, oh, you're right. You're right. You're right. That's kind of what I'm doing here. I want you to know that you're right. And if you are willing to go the distance and really get behind everything you've ever done or said or didn't say, what you're doing, saying, or not doing right now, and what you will ever do in the future, if you can 100% get behind this notion that you're right, guess what? There's a thing called the law of diminishing returns. What will happen is that you are going to get to a point where you're going to expect more from yourself. This is where your values come in. Now, values, especially, goodness, for a long time now, there are waves of times where the word value, family values, values get used a lot. But when a person is faced with the question, what are your values? If I were to ask you, what are your values? When I ask people that, a lot of times they don't have a ready response. So we know what values are, because people talk about them a lot, but oftentimes I don't think that we really know what our values are. So here's a little quick way that you can establish or recognize or bring to the forefront or decide for the first time ever, what are your values? Here's the first way. If you don't even know where to start, you could obviously go to your favorite search engine and put in examples of values, and you'll get loyalty, you'll get efficient, reliable. There's a whole list of things. And I think that that's not such a bad way to start, because you can read the list and you can think about, what do I identify with, right? The thing about reading lists, though, and using that as your only go-to, is that those lists of values are kind of the, dare I say, boring ideals that are out there. Oh, he or she is efficient and loyal and reliable and punctual. Ugh. Okay, so sure, maybe some of those things you identify with, and that's okay, because it's a start. But here is, I think, a really, really intense way to get in touch with your values. I want you to imagine how other people, now this might be your coworkers, your boss, your family, your friends, your loved ones, I want you to imagine how you would like those people to talk about you behind your back. Because people talk about us behind our back. They do. It's what people do, okay? So go ahead and go there and imagine in your mind these people. How do I want these people to talk about me behind my back? I know it sounds a little twisted, but seriously, this is an exercise for you to get in touch with your values. What do I want them to say about me when I turn around and walk away? Because, my friend, those are values. They may not be super positive, or they might be incredibly positive. This is for you to decide. This is how you get in touch with how you want to be, or how you think think you are, right? Maybe you already are these things, but the exercise is to get closer to it, because now we're going to go back to the you're always right thing. And I'm going to kind of weave these together, because if the notion that you have always been right, and that you're right in whatever you're doing now or not doing, and what you will ever do in the future, if that's true, if we can get behind that and be always right, then where do the values come in? Well, in my mind, the values come in this way. If you are in the middle of an action, whether speaking or performing an action, doing something, and you feel this nagging sick stomach, or the tap on the shoulder, or the devil and the angel, or like what, if there's some kind of chatter going on and running, a program running in the background that's making you feel a little off, I want you to know that those are your values. We all have them. We all really already have values. That exercise of how do people talk about me behind my back just helps you get more in touch with them, right? So when you're performing an action, or we talked about the relationship, right? What about that relationship back then? And why did I feel like crap so much in the middle of it? If it was so right, why did I feel like, well, because your values were trying to get in touch with you and you weren't listening, or you weren't really paying as close attention to them as they would have liked for you to pay attention to them. So this is how, as we move forward, knowing that whatever we do or say or don't do or don't say, we're going to be right, because that's the deal. That's your North Star, right? But now we can start bringing our values into the conversation. This is going to allow us, in being right all the time, to feel better about being right. Does that sound twisted? It should, at least a little bit at first, because this is, I don't hear people talking about this. Maybe there are people talking about this. I don't know. But in my mind, you are right. And moving forward, you can bring your values into the conversation. Therefore, whatever you do, because you know it's going to be right, you're going to feel even better about being right. A little trick that I use, just as you can use this if you want, is take your initials. A lot of us have like a first name, a middle name, and a last name. Some people have 4 names because there's hyphens going on. Some people have a bunch of names. But you know what? You know your name. You know your name. You've had to write it for a long time, and other people speak it, and it's written on legal documents, right? Take the first initial of every one of your names and attach a value to it. That is your go-to set of values. So when you are faced with making a decision, and we already did a video about decision making, about the option factory, check it out if you haven't. But when you're faced with making a decision, I want you to first of all understand that you're right. You're right. No matter what I decide to do about this XYZ thing, I'm going to be right. I am, because I'm always right. Now, how do I want to feel in being right, though? I'm going to incorporate my values. I'm going to see if the decision that I make with what I'm going to do or say or not do comports with my values. And there you go. That is how, my sweet friend, you'll become a more confident person. Because off the bat, you're going to know that you're right. Because you have a brain, and the things that you do or say or don't say come from this knowledge that you have amassed over time. And that's why you do the things you do. We're just trying to get you to feel better about doing them, and feel better when you look back on them, and feel better about moving forward into all these right things that you're going to be doing. This, I believe, is another little way that we're getting the planet in a better mood, right? Right. Peace out.